Hello to you all, Millie Lloyd, hope everyone is having a good day. It's Old School Gamer 1971 with my top 10 for platform games. If you would, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Spread the word as it makes the channel grow and puts a big old smile on this old face. Post your list down below in the comments, I look forward to reading them. So my number 10, Nightmare Boy, came to the PlayStation 4 in 2017 and was developed by Vanir Project. Okay, I'll admit to this, I saw the thumbnail to this game on the store and just thought, it's not for me. Fast forward around 6 months and it was in the bane of my experience, the PlayStation sale. It's why I have over 800 games and counting just for PlayStation 4 alone. The trailer had me pretty much sold on it, so I checked out the gameplay and with the £4 price tag things were looking fine. Once I did, I realised I was wrong, that this was exactly my kind of game. Yes, it is another Metroidvania game, and whilst it is nothing really new, gameplay wise, aesthetically it's its own thing most definitely, and is accomplished at what it does. And only now has it dawned on me why I even really looked. It's the word nightmare. I saw the word and thought it can't be all that bad for £4, can it? I knew it would make the list, and unless something really special comes along, this could be here quite a while. And being honest, there's not a lot out there like this for the PlayStation 4. My number 9, Rayman Legends, came to the PlayStation 4 in 2014 and was developed by Ubisoft. Right, I have to start this off right by giving a shout out to Mark Topless. He is the man that dragged me into the 32-bit era. At the time I was waiting on the N64. Mark started off with the 3DO, and whilst I was not overly impressed, it was mainly the price. It was imported, so it was expensive. Couple that with not too many games, Mark soon got rid of it and got a PlayStation, and that first month we went everywhere, all over Leicester buying games. Sometimes we went to a game shop in Melton Mowbray. I think we went there to buy Doom or something like that, but by the time we got there we had to travel from Leicester to Melton. They'd sold out apparently. I left with Discworld, a pretty good point and click adventure, and Mark bought Rayman. And whilst I like my game, the green-eyed monster wanted Rayman. The original, similar to this, was a 2D platformer. I got it a few weeks later and I loved playing it. And then we got 2 and 3 in the wonder of 3D, not so good. Then we got Rayman Origins for like the PlayStation 3, which was like a return to 2D, ergo a return to form. And so the PlayStation 4 rocked round and they released Rayman Legends. Lloyd and myself used to play this game in co-op sometimes. It is a fun game. Thanks Lloyd and thanks Mark, because without you two guys I don't think I would have enjoyed this as much as I did. My number 8, 36 Fragments of Midnight, came to the PlayStation 4 in 2017 and was developed by Petite Games. This is a game that I never knew existed, but it's more than that. It's not just the game but the genre. It seemed from a bygone age. It had ceased to be. It was an ex-genre. Except, like a phoenix rising, the genre came back. This feels truly like an arcade game. Unlike a computer game or video game, the arcade game was supposed to be over quickly, so the arcade could make more money. This had that flavour to it. Each game lasts less than 15 minutes. You always feel that you can do better, that ultimately faster. The last time-based trophy was tough, but the sense of accomplishment when it popped. At first I thought that more levels would not have gone amiss. That would have improved the game no end. But since returning to it, I realised that this game is spot on. This is a complete game. Video games work because you win or you achieve something. Then when you do, you want that sense of accomplishment again and again. So in short, buy this game. Simple, yes, but hard as hell to master. And on to my number 7, Axiom Verge. Came to the PlayStation 4 in 2015 and was developed by Thomas Happ Games. So we start off with another shout out, Ericsson. Quite a few shout outs this week. Right, we have to go way back and discuss Eggy Bread. Mortal Kombat 2 and Eggy Bread. Now there was another game that bad and downright evil, that people would swap labels on the games and take them back to Argos because they never checked the game and would just give you a refund. It was called Metroid. I know one really bad person who did this with Bubsy the Bobcat, and it wasn't Ericsson. One day I went to Ericsson's, and after Eggy Bread he had a new game, Metroid, which kinda looked like this. The people who made this are obviously fans of Metroid, as it is a Nintendo property. It would never be ported to a rival console, but it might be soon to Xbox. Now, let's step away a second here. Would either company really be doing this if they were leading the console war? Because I don't think so. Anyway, back to the game. Except someone made this game, and whilst it's far from perfect, it sure as hell played like Metroid. Playing this took me back. Now pass me my bread and eggs. Number 6, Unravel 2. Came to the PlayStation 4 in 2018 and was developed by Coldwood Interactive. These games, 2 of them so far, have been instant releases at E3, announced during their press conferences. The first was impressive, the second to me, it was better. The physics really had time to shine, lots of physics puzzles in the game. It is also fun as hell to play. The first one you had to have the knack, and once you had it down, it was easy enough to get through. This one takes a little more grey matter. Being able to change your colour is also a nice touch to me, especially for younger players. This is a pretty good platformer that shows what a bit of effort can do. The game doesn't need over $40 million to be made, just imagination and a good team to bring the game to life. I do enjoy these games. With collectibles, there is a bit of replay value here. My number 5, Ratchet & Clank, came to the PlayStation 4 in 2016 and was developed by Insomniac. I just don't get it. Some people hate the remake. Personally, I loved it. Ratchet & Clank was always good and graphically impressive for its time. Not realistic in any way, shape or form. I remember the chicken gun. It's not in the remake, but one of my favourite guns in gaming ever. You shoot someone and they become a chicken. Simple, but effective. With a rich and colourful backstory and characters, I always love it when a new Ratchet & Clank game is on the way. Rumblings around the campfire says it is going to be very soon. It is a 3D platformer that works as a 3D game. They don't always believe me. Go and have a look at a lot of 3D platformers, they do not work as well as this. The graphics are outstanding here. It plays as good as it looks, and yet it still doesn't really come up in the conversation of best platformers. Not nearly enough in my estimation anyway. Oh, and these games are fun as hell to play as well. So get the game, it's well worth the money. My number 4, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, came to the PlayStation 4 in 2014 and was developed by Eidos and Crystal Dynamics. Whilst in some people's eyes this might be more of an adventure, it probably is. It does have some climbing and platform sections however, and they are rather good. The game does look amazing and certainly a step in the right direction, especially after some of the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 Tomb Raider titles. And whilst a more politically correct world in which we live in today and lacking sales led to Lara's fall from grace, I can remember when they used to cast a model as Lara, and if they got it wrong, body shape or nationality were two reasons some Laras were criticised at the time. And the fans would lose their minds. Fast forward to today, the new trilogy. The last game was a bit of Marmite. You either loved it or loathed it. But the definitive edition, the first of the new trilogy, this was just an amazing return to form. P.S. Looking at it, the Shadow of the Tomb Raider was not that bad. It's just that Rise of the Tomb Raider was so much better. On the whole, it was a pretty good trilogy, and I can't wait to see where Lara goes next. My number 3, Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, came to the PlayStation 4 in 2016 and was developed by Naughty Dog. I've always felt that Uncharted 4 was a game that defined the PlayStation 4, and whilst it might not have been the first, it did hold that mantle for a good while. I love the action on show here in this game. The platform sections, the cinematics, the characters are all just outstanding. Now I know, like Tomb Raider, this is not a traditional platformer, but I have always enjoyed them. Then this game added a grappling hook, and it took it to a whole new level. The only way it could have been any better is with a jetpack. Maybe not. The last section that comes to mind that really shows off the platforming is either this level here or the city rooftops. It looks amazing. But I suppose everything just looks outstanding in this game. I just can't wait for the next Uncharted main entry to come along. And like every other time, I can't wait for the next bout of capture of this game, as I always know that when I do, I will always see something that tops the last time I played. My penultimate entry, Forgotten Anne, came to the PlayStation 4 in 2018 and was developed by Throughline Games. Whilst I would say this is a little bit more of an adventure, I have to say that the platforming here is pretty good, even as puzzle platforming sections, showing originality for me at least. This I saw and I thought it looked good until I played it, and I was wrong, it was great. It is something that I certainly didn't expect. It has such a strong story, it has style, and shows great originality to boot. One thing I love about doing reviews and top 10s is I get to highlight games such as this. And whilst I know it isn't like that, I do hope to play and finish it before the year's end. You can see it's a Metroidvania game, but I love it. Buy it. I can promise you, somehow it is better than it looks. Not that it looks bad in any way. Also, the platforming sections work really well because the controls are tight and responsive. And like any decent Metroidvania games, you get different powers and power-ups that help you get through those platforming sections. And my number 1, Sonic Mania Plus, came to the PlayStation 4 in 2018 and was developed by Christian Whitehead. Okay, I have to review this game, and I really want to do a review to highlight how good this game really is. I've played it a little bit, but not a lot. This was designed by a Sonic fan, Christian Whitehead, and whilst I applaud Sega for releasing this, how many chances has Sega had to make a decent Sonic game, and they didn't manage it, but this guy did. As you can see, it harkens back to the good old days. The levels are well designed and colourful, and at the same time they're also complex and taxing. Above all else, it is fun to play. But why does this top this list? Because it's a pure platformer. There's not many of those about nowadays. But I am glad that Sega stuck by Sonic, because it's part of gaming history and definitely part of my gaming history. And I can't wait to see what comes next from one Mr. Christian Whitehead. If this is anything to go by, it could be topping another one of my lists. Well, that's about it for me today. If you like this list, there is plenty more content like this on my channel. Enjoy the rest of your day. Old School Gamer 1971 signing off.